All right, hello, seventh grade. I am Mr. Rogers,
And I'm Mrs. Froman.
and you're watching the video notes. I believe it's the one dash four in our book is
Yes.
what this is on,
Yep.
and it's on our those 6 different kingdoms of living things. So that biggest, broadest category of living things is kingdom, and there are 6 major ones we have identified today. And today's gonna be kind of a brief overview of those 6 different kingdoms. And I'll start here with the first type we'll look at is the Archaebacteria. And archae kind of means that ancient, like archaic.
Yeah.
Um,
Archaeology.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of probably the first living things on Earth were probably Archaebacteria or similar to Archaebacteria. They're known as ancient bacteria. These are prokaryotes. What that means, I always say pro means no nucleus. So they're very, very simple. They have DNA, a few organelles, some ribosomes. Very simple. And what's different about them is they're obviously autotrophs and heterotrophs, so some can make their own food, some don't. But kind of the really unique feature, we find them in very, very harsh living conditions. We find them in the hot springs, think of like Yellowstone National Park. There's like a morning glory one, and it's like reds and blues and greens. Depending how hot the water is, they have type that color of bacteria that's living in there.
Oh, that's cool.
They can live in very salty water, ocean volcanic vents, like deep miles in the
Yeah,
ocean.
there's all kinds of chemicals coming out of those vents.
These sulfuric acid basically are
Yeah.
living off of that, and even deep down in your intestines, different types of harsh environments there. So that's the first type, are these Archaebacteria. It's our first kingdom.
Then we have the eubacteria, and those are unicellular bacteria. They are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Again, they are prokaryotes. They don't have a nucleus. And a lot of these are helpful to us. They help make vitamins in our body. They help make yogurt, pickles, all the kind of stuff that people like to eat. Some of them, we've heard of E. coli.
Right.
That's not so nice, but a lot of these we do need around.
Even
so.
E. coli, you have some
And
in your
there's
intestine.
there's different types of E. coli. So
Yeah, I think that's the everyday. So you probably have some of different types of bacteria on your skin right now
Oh, yeah.
that they're just there. They don't even bother you at all.
yep.
So our next kingdom, our third kingdom now already, there's actually 2 kingdoms of bacteria, are protists. And protists are still single-celled for the most part. Some are multicellular, but again, now these are eukaryotes. So now their cells have a nucleus, so more complex. They've got more organelles. Some have no nuclei just for reproduction. Some even have 2 nuclei. We'll look at those. Again, some can be autotrophs, some can make their own food. Some are heterotrophs, they gotta find food. These include things like slime molds. Seaweed is actually a protist, and like single-celled amoebas. We'll look at these guys later in the year, swimming around in water.
Then there's fungi, and they have their own kingdom now. They used to be lumped in with plants. Most of these are multicellular eukaryotes, so they do have a nucleus. Yeast is one of the most common unicellular ones, and we need those for making bread, things like that. These are all heterotrophs. They feed on dead organisms. They include things like mushrooms, mold, mildew. You leave stuff in the fridge
There
too
you go.
long,
Ugh.
it starts growing that
Looks like my
mold
fridge in
on it.
college or something right there. Yeah, the big thing is these guys have, they have to get food. I think of them as the decomposers of the world. I mean,
Yeah.
without these guys, you do a lot of
Oh.
decomposing and breaking down the dead material for us. That's where they're a
Right.
vital role in most ecosystems. And that takes us into plants. And plants are multicellular, they're many-celled. They're eukaryotes, they have a nucleus. All are autotrophs. These guys can all make their own food. And again, we think about the base level of all ecosystems starts with plants,
Yeah.
primarily. So they feed most of all Earth's heterotrophs in one way or another. They include things like moss, flowers, trees, grass, and we'll spend a lot more time studying them later in the year. We're actually going to grow our own plants also later in the year. But one of the most biggest, diverse, we can say, kingdoms, and complex too in terms of complexity. Every kingdom we look at gets more and more complex.
Right.
So we're gonna have much more specialized tissue,
Yeah.
like roots or leaves when we get to plants.
And then we have the animals. These are the most complex, multicellular eukaryotes. These are all heterotrophs, so they depend on either plants to get their food or they eat other animals. And it includes, we don't usually think of insects as an animal,
Right,
but
yeah.
an insect is an animal. We have insects, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and the mammals.
Okay. I know later in the year we get to amphibians. We'll dissect frogs.
Yes,
Take
we
a
get to
closer look at
dissect
those
them.
guys. Yeah. So those are our 6 kingdoms. We'll give you kind of a quick overview of these 6 different types of kingdoms. And now throughout the year, we're going to spend more time with each individual kingdom.
Yeah, we'll look very closely at members of those.
Yep. So we thank you guys for watching. We'll see you along the way.
Bye.